Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning.
Welcome to the Positive Living Center. We all love this place. This is, one of those sanctuaries that I think we all need. So, since we don't have any newcomers, I'd just like to have you settle in and we're going to have a nice meditation and listen to Lori B. Ballard for just a few minutes before we go into that place of quiet. Take a nice deep breath. Fill yourself with that life force. As you meditate, imagine all the good health, all the beauty, all the love you could ever want is just waiting for you to open your heart to it. And I'll call you back in about 5 minutes. Slowly return back to your body, feeling nurtured, giving yourself that moment of peace, peacefulness within. This year has been the focus of a healthy lifestyle. And our themes have been journey, prayer, and enrichment. When we take these words and we apply them to our life, and we approach the world holding that knowing that we can shift and change whatever we focus on. And that's why we come to the Positive Living Center, to focus on that loving energy. I'm going to ask Lori B. Ballard to return and play her first set.
But Judy had just that, hang on.
I know, we need you to exercise, honey.
No, I thought. As a matter of fact, my first, where did this thing come from? Don't know. I kind of like it, but I keep bumping into it wrong. Anyway, this song is one of Dear Angelo's favorite songs. So, Andy, I know you're there. So this song for you, my friend. And he has been a wonderful friend, hasn't he, to everybody?
He certainly has.
Certainly has been.
Wow. Can y'all do that? Love yourself just the way you are. Sometimes it's really a chore. We've been taught differently. And here, I think we're learning new ways. And for new ways and our spiritual thought, we have John Lalonde. Give him a hand.
Thanks, Judy. Well, morning again. Thank you, Lori B. I want to, of the themes for this month, I want to talk about prayer. And I want to first just say where I'm getting a lot of what I'm about to say. And that is I'm taking the current class that Reverend LJ is teaching, and we're using a couple of books. She talked about one of them last week. The other one is this 5 Steps to Freedom is the title of this book. It's by John Waterhouse, and it has a subtitle of An Introduction to Spiritual Mind Treatment. And so the first thing I really like this book. As you can see, it's thin, it's very concise, and it's wise. It really kind of compacts a lot of what is taught here into just a little book. But I wanted to know, spiritual mind treatment, is that prayer? I mean, it doesn't use the same words. And to my surprise, Ernest Holmes answers that question wonderfully. And in his answer, he gives some of the components of prayer that I think resonated with me and I think are part of the definition. So what his answer to that question is spiritual mind treatment prayer was, if one prays his or her prayer as a recognition of Spirit's omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, and a realization of our unity with Spirit, then the prayer is a spiritual mind treatment. So they're one and the same when you recognize the all-powerfulness, all-presence, all-knowing of Spirit, and realize our oneness with that Spirit, that divine within us. That makes the treatment a prayer. So this book is about prayer. John Waterhouse in this book gives a few nice, succinct definitions of prayer and says, everything we express in our lives is prayer. Our prayers are the sum total of everything we think, say, and do. And whatever we think about, believe about ourselves and our world is what is being created. Life reflects back to us that which dwells within our thoughts and our beliefs. So those are kind of the places where John Waterhouse starts here, and that takes it away from just kind of a mental, verbal sort of thing. All we think, say, and do is our prayer. He goes on to ask some great questions. And I'm just going to read a paragraph of this that seems to flow into looking at what is it that our mind dwells on. So what do you think about as you move through your day? Do you think how beautiful and extraordinary your life is? Do thoughts about the difficulties and frustrations of life control your attention? Or do you get excited about the incredible possibilities and opportunities that await you? Do you live in a state of worry or a state of wonder? On what does your mind dwell? So those are his questions to kind of set up the inquiry in this book and in our talking about prayer. So why is dwelling, what we dwell on, why is what we think, say, and do important to us? And as we've heard here in other months, in other themes, and in other readings, Science of Mind teaches that the law of Spirit takes the impress of our thoughts and brings those thoughts into physical form or manifestation. So this word takes the impress. I don't use impress in the word in the way that I think it is used here. So I look for some synonyms, and there are a lot of synonyms for impress. We all know impression and making a good impression and those kinds of things. In metalwork were the areas that I like the best. They were impress is a synonym, or these words are synonyms for impress. Etch, carve, inscribe, cut, and chisel, and so on. So they're very powerful kind of art and metalwork, woodwork kinds of terms that really give an impression of what is being talked about by impress. So what we dwell on, the sum total of all we think, say, or do, is what etches or chisels out the impress of prayer for spirit as us to move into form. So, so what is it that we are praying to bring into form? And Ernest Holmes kind of answers that question. And these are kind of aspirational or goals, or just why are we praying? And what is the most potent prayer, really? And in a teaching, Ernest Holmes, that's entitled Constant Prayer, Holmes quotes the New Testament, Thessalonians, which is just the second time I've said that out loud. And those I said it to the first time weren't real sure, but Thessalonians. The quote is pray without ceasing, or pray continually. And he explains that always be on the affirmative side of life, fill your thoughts with ideas of faith, never doubt and always trust, and fill yourself with the expectancy of good. Pray to bring about an inner communion, and that is a constant recognition of our relationship with divine spirit, that presence in which we live and move and have our being. So this inner communion is a constant state of awareness of our unity and our oneness with God. So what a wonderful consciousness, and what a wonderful way to pray, to really bring yourself into that consciousness and linger. So this being Thanksgiving weekend, I did want to conclude with another quote that is cited by Holmes, and that is, "In everything give thanks." What a wonderful gratitude prayer that is. And he goes on to say, for gratitude is the realization that we are now in heaven. And so it is.
Thank you, John. Learning words, I love that. And I love the idea of the continuous prayer. We'd like to ask Lori Ballard to
Come up again.
come up again. Yeah. Continue that thought.
Still trying to get my hands on. Because I need it for this song, but this has some real fun guitar stuff going on. Okay, you will all know this song, I guarantee it. Well, unless maybe you're like 100 years old, but I don't think we have anyone that old here. No, not even you, Dale. Because I have to be flexible and nimble on this one. Okay. Thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it will be
pretty as the brand new. God, it's a hidden mirror. Soon it will be with you. And I'm man enjoying the living. It's not so far from you. And it's a hidden mirror. It soon will be with you. The peace train sounding louder, right on the peace train. Ooh, ah, yeah. Come on, that peace train. This peace train's a holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh, ah, yeah. Come on, that peace train. I've been crying lately, thinking about the world that is. Why must it go on hating? Why can't we live in this? 'Cause I'm on the edge of darkness, where rides a peace train. A peace train, take this country, come take me home again. The peace train sounding loud and light on the peace train. Ooh, ah, yeah. Come on now, peace train. This peace train's a holy roller. Everyone jump on the peace train. Ooh, ah, yeah. Come on now, peace train. Thank you very much.
That was wonderful. Thank you. Yes. Are we aboard on that peace train? I'm hoping. Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of peace train, I'm going to ask Reverend Joe Bull to come up and do our spiritual talk for today. Main speaker. I'm trying to get this really tall for Joe.
Yeah, you might need a
A little.
help.
I think so. There you go. There you are. There, better.
Very good. Thank you. Good morning. Some of you have been asking, where's Luana? So I'll tell you all at the same time. She got up early with me, as she usually does, especially on the weekends, and she says, I need to stay home. I got to make a stew. Because she had promised me a stew this weekend. And so she got up and got it cooking right about 8 o'clock. So that's where she is this morning. And I know she's missing all of you right now too. But that's a treat for me, because about 5 o'clock I'll be eating some stew. So I'm excited about that.
And she's not on Zoom.
And I didn't think she's going to come on Zoom. I think she's still in her,
Jones.
yeah.
Before we start, could you fix your head, Joe, there? So you're,
Fix my head.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went over it that way a little bit.
oh, great.
So, perfect.
Is that good?
That is great. Perfect.
Okay.
Push it up just a little bit, because when you look at us, it cuts right there. We want you perfect.
We'll get started real soon here, folks.
Now we can't see his neck.
I know.
I want to talk to you this morning a little bit about enrichment. Enrichment. We all know what that word means in our own definitions, I think. But it means improving on the quality of our lives here on this planet each and every day, like John was talking about. Everything that we think and do is a prayer in itself. And we can make or break our day based on what we feel and what we think, don't we? How do we improve our lives, though? Well, we do that by, say, volunteering, being positive, of course, being optimistic about everything in front of you, contributing to society, connecting with others, and feeling a sense of belonging. That one's really important, isn't it? Because we're social animals. We're meant to be together. We're meant to visit and exchange ideas and thoughts and love. And most importantly, probably in practicing self-care. We got to take care of us. Ain't nobody else going to do it for us. I find that out all the time. I just had COVID for about 2.5 weeks, and I had to take time to stay down and take care of myself so I could come back. So we need to practice self-care as well. But what other things can we do to improve our lives? Well, there's, of course, music, dance, art, photography, creative writing, gardening. Gardening is a wonderful one, isn't it? I love being in the garden and feeling God in that earth. And the thing about gardening and other things that you do is when you get done with this, you get to see your instant results. Instant results. Well, look what I just did. Look what I just, and you can't wait to find somebody else to show them what you did, right? When one comes home, hey, look what I did over here, you know. But it helps improve us and lift us to know that we can do anything we put our minds to. And it's very healthy, very healthy. We can also go hiking and camping, and exercising is very important. Go ride a horse. I still know people who ride horses. Exercising, I'm talking about just going for a power walk. Get outside on these days like this when the sun's out and go for a walk. It clears the mind. And it enriches our mind to think about positive things versus the negatives that are always out there, it seems like. When we praise God, we are praising ourselves at the same time, aren't we? Because we're connected with God, always. We release and let go and surrender to God sometimes. I surrender to God sometimes when I cannot figure out how to complete something or do something. I just turn it over to God in a prayer, and I move on to other things. And all of a sudden, an answer comes to me, just out of the blue. Enrichment makes something more meaningful, substantial, and rewarding. We have to think about, I mean, we have anywhere from 65,000 to 88,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot. So when we go to bed, no wonder we're tired. And hopefully we turn off that brain that's always thinking and wondering about the next thing I need to do, or something that didn't get done, or gosh, I wonder if so-and-so's still mad at me. We need to shut down our minds. And we do that through prayer at night, don't we? And through meditative. We do things to improve our lives all the time. Even when we have a tough situation in a day, we can surrender to the highest power known to mankind. And you know who that is. We can go within and seek our answers with God. This is a perfect example of enrichment being used right then and right there. So we can absolutely change a situation, change our minds to something positive when we take that time. God helps remind us that we have all we need here and now. We enrich ourselves by using God's power for our good and for the good of others, being active and enlightened by things we do that lift us. Every time I accomplish something, no matter what it is, it lifts me. When I'm doing chores at home, I don't mind doing them at all. It's the same thing over and over again. But my wife works full time, so I take care of the house. And I don't look at it as boredom or anything else. I find ways to entertain myself when I'm doing my chores. It all depends on how we look at things, isn't it? Enrichment is sometimes broken down into 5 categories. The first one is the physical, meaning walking every day, getting exercise, and uplifted by a nice walk with a friend or even by yourself. And maybe like I do, I talk to God when I'm walking, and people finally figured out I'm not crazy. They just know that I'm talking to God. Very important that we take care of ourselves physically. Number 2 is nutritional enrichment, eating better, eating right. You feel more energetic, don't you? I know I do. And yeah, I like my junk foods too. But I'm finding out that that stuff just makes me sleepy and lazy. So I try not to do that too often. I have that sweet tooth going all the time too. But we do feel the difference when we eat right. The third one is social enrichment. Connecting with people and sharing things with each other. We learn from each other, and it lifts us to engage. Now, I know that the holidays are not always positive for everybody. Years ago, I have spent many Thanksgiving days and Christmas Eve and Christmas by myself as a young man. And it was tough. It gets lonely. And I understand that feeling. But we can never stop and say, well, okay, we're all by ourselves. All you need to do is pick up a phone and call a friend, call a relative, talk with somebody. It helps reassure you're not alone. And we're never alone anyway with God. But when it comes to that nurturing, connection with a human being, it means a lot. So I know that the holidays are tough sometimes, but not just through the holidays, but anytime. A minister and a practitioner is always available to call. I'm always available to call. Please call me. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. You want to just listen, I'll listen. But we don't have to be alone. We don't have to go through things alone. Number 4, sensory enrichment. At home, we get done with our day, our mind's still going with all these things we want to finish doing. I got to do that tomorrow. I gotta. It's time to shut the mind down and turn on some soft music and just sit, close your eyes and just enjoy the music. I love Lori's music. Every time she shows up here, it satisfies my hunger for music and love. And I feel that coming from her. So Lori, thank you so much for that. And the 5th one is the cognitive enrichment, practicing expanding the mind through meditative methods, talking with God to open the mind. This helps us to see clearly a solution to a problem or a better way of positive thinking or living. Oh, this reminds me. I was in my 20th year, I think, as a peace officer. I was a sergeant in patrol at the time. And I was really, I think all the years, 20 years of seeing so much negativity out there, because when people call for a cop, they usually not calling you to have you a cup of coffee and thanking you for your service. It's usually the worst case scenarios when people call. I think over the years of seeing so much stuff, I was starting to just feel negative about everything and anything. And here I am as a supervisor trying to put on my best face for my troops to keep them being positive. But I was going through a depressive state and I knew it. And I talked to God about it. I said, God, I've got to do something different because I'm getting a little bit more tense every time I go out on the call and talk to folks and talk to my troops. So I prayed up about that, and I released that prayer and forgot about it, went about my days. And within, I'd say 24 hours, there was a notice in the sheriff's office from the sheriff himself who says, by the way, folks, we now have a psychiatrist that's contracted with us, and it's free to you and your family at any time, and it's all, of course, confidential. I went, there it is. There's my answer right there. You know it when you got it, don't you? You know when it's your knocking opportunity, say, go do this. So I went, I made an appointment, and there was this gal, her name was Karen. She was a little bitty gal, little bitty thing. She was hilarious. But I'm sitting out waiting for her to and she has an exit door for each client so you don't see who's coming in, going out. Very confidential. And she sat down and talked with me, and we greeted each other. And she goes, before we get started, I'd like for you to fill out this form for me real fast. I'm like, great, more paperwork. She goes, it's very simple, front and back, just answer these questions yes or no. So I did. Without thinking, I just answered them, turned around, I handed it back to her, and she looks at it and she says, Joe, you're mildly to moderately depressed. I just jumped on that. I said, no kidding, Doc. Why do you think I'm here? I know this already. I said, you're a genius. And then we both started laughing. We laughed till we cried. I was like, oh my God. Yes, Doc, I know that's why I'm here. And really, she really helped me by allowing me to talk and to come up with some ideas to help lift me back So I was enriching my life when I was going through this and enriching the life of other people that I affect as well. Really a great experience. I'll never forget it. It wakes us up to know how we can resolve a situation or problem. Our spiritual practices, you are doing your spiritual practices, I hope. We talk about that all the time. Your meditation, you're going for walks, you're talking with God, talking with a friend, your loved ones, talking to someone that can help lift you. I know you're doing that. So our spiritual practices and physical movements strengthen our minds and help us to learn more about what it is that we do want versus what we don't want. We enrich our lives on a journey daily, a spiritual journey discovering what works for us as individuals. It adds to our growth overall. It helps us to know that we can make our lives even better each and every day. It's a combination of health, meaning body, intelligence, meaning the mind, and spiritual nutrition through the soul. I love that Reverend Luana talked about the 5 steps of prayer, reminding us how to make our prayers very powerful and meaningful. Just like John was talking about, that book he has, I've read it. It's an incredible book. And the fact that it is pretty good size font in a small book, that helps too. But he's right, it's a wonderful class, and Luana does a great job with that. She reminds us of the 5 steps. Step 1, acknowledging God. First thing we do for setting up a prayer is God is. We know this. The second step is I am one with God, which means I am. And step 3 is the prayer treatment itself, a positive prayer stating what it is that we do want, as I said. And step 4, acknowledging it already is activated in the mind of God. That is what gives me such great energy to know that whatever I'm asking for is already out there working for me. And the 5th step, I think, is the most important one. We forget this sometimes, releasing it, letting go of it, knowing that it is done, and going about your day. And when you do this, I promise you, you'll get the answer you're seeking. It works every single time. We discovered that by sharing with others, we feel better, right? We feel as though we belong to something. We belong to something important. Because each and every day is precious on this planet. We're not here very long. But each and every day, everything can be okay, even through the toughest situations. Holidays, like I said, can be tough. And as we think about loved ones who made their transition, especially, I think about my mom and my brother and my dad and especially my beloved grandparents. But I think about them during the holidays, and it does make me smile. I think about the fun we had together. We can easily focus our attention on the loss of those we love, but we talk about what it is that we do have versus what we don't have. We have our fond memories. Nothing wrong with that. I too get saddened by my own losses, but then I go into meditation. I start thanking God for my time and enjoyment I had with people past and animals in my past that are gone. But now I start thinking about the loved ones I have now. 3 cats. I have 3 cats. 2 cats too many, but I love them. I fell in love with them. They lay around with me when I'm in bed or sitting in my easy chair. They want to lay on my chair with me and just love me up. And it's such a wonderful feeling to feel that. So I turn myself and my attention to what it is I do have in life. I hope you do the same. My lifelong partner, Luana, and my beautiful cats. I also have you here at the Positive Living Center as part of my family, my church family. And I'm so, so blessed to have this place and to have you in my life. I feel enriched by what I have, what I do have, and it does lift me each and every day because we are truly enriched. I'm hoping you stay focused on what it is that you have as well. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. That was lovely. Such a great reminder. I know that oftentimes when we've lost someone, we forget that they're simply not in the physical, but they are always with us in our heart and our memories. And I often feel their presence. And that's also that gift of paying attention to what's around us. Yes. We hold our doors open because of your contributions. And I think, is Barney here today? Sometimes he's here. There he is. If you'll say with me, divine love flowing through me, blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive.
Yep.
Yeah. So financially, we hold our doors open through your contributions and your generosity and your care. And we greatly appreciate this. We know that there are times when things get tight, and there are times when we can be generous. And we appreciate you being here with us. It's very important. And I noticed on Zoom, Diane, I haven't seen you for quite a long time. Welcome back to Zoom. We've missed you. Thank you. Good to see you, honey. And I know that Missy has a number, and she's always doing, she's got it all set up. She's very, very reliable. And I'd like to know if there are any announcements. I think I heard in the audience earlier that there were announcements to be made. Remember? Oh, one is from Julie. Come on up. Oh, yeah, you can do it.
This is my first time.
Oh, good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie. Good morning. I grew up in Oakhurst, and then I moved away. And about a year ago, I came back for a week's visit, and I'm still here. I was living in my travel trailer full time, just chasing nice weather, not really having a place to settle down. And 2 years ago, my brother passed away, and he left me his unfinished house. And September 1st, I got to take over and had the house finished. And about a week ago, I slept in a real bed. It wasn't a mattress on the floor. It wasn't in an RV in over 7 years. And it was delightful. Right about in January, when things started opening up, I knew this is a place that I wanted to be. And this is pretty much the only place, aside from the grocery store occasionally, that I go. And this is where I was gifted my job. Joe Nelson was moving, and he knew I was in a crummy situation. And I took over his place with Crossroads Tours, which has been phenomenal. I walked in this morning and Judy says, "How's the new house?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just delightful. It's my home." She asked if I needed anything, and instantly I'm like, "Yeah, I need a refrigerator." And someone to install my dog door. I have 4 senior dogs that get up multiple times at night separately, and I have to let them out and take them out. And I have the dog door. I'm just chicken to dive into the wall. Yeah. So she said, "Oh, make an announcement." So those are my needs. But also I have a beautiful secretary's desk that my brother left. I don't need it. I would like to offer that to anyone, and a dresser that I'm looking to find a home for.
Great.
So that's it. Thank you.
Yay. There's nothing like home.
Yes.
Nothing like home. Sandy, what would you like to share with us? Owen?
First, I'd like to thank everybody for the lovely poinsettias that they started bringing today, getting ready for Christmas. And next week is the first weekend in December. And what we do here is we have a Christmas celebration or seasonal celebration on that Sunday, setting the intention for what's going to be. And it's like children's stories and music and just a celebration for what it really means. And the other thing we're looking at, and we'll probably do, is Christmas this year is on a Sunday. And all of the staff would like to be with their family. So we're looking at possibly not doing a Christmas Sunday, but sending out instead a written Christmas that has like a prayer for you to do, something to read, that kind of thing. So sometime during Christmas Day, you can be in touch and hold the consciousness that we have here. So looking forward to a good season, and we're going to have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Goodness. Oh, wait, did you have something to say? Yes.
I think you all can hear me. I appreciated your talk today.
Thank you, Jeff.
It helped me a lot.
Thank you.
My neck gets tired, but come around, I miss my Michael John. Leo, it's like part of the family gone. And I miss it. And I miss my family.
Wow. Yeah.
I know I've talked to Leo about Clark for him. He seemed like he's lost a lot of his self-identity in the work he does and so on. And I know I've lost mine. You know, you don't hear from your sons like you do, and your grandsons like you do your granddaughters and daughters, you know, but they all call me on Thanksgiving. I started slowly retiring whenever I sold my house the family was raised in. And I painted it because the paint was bad on it. And I sold it to my neighbor. And he painted again some beautiful colors. But it's still, that house was built with pure redwood. Back when redwood was painful, you know, remember one tree log, you know, one log rope, they were so huge. Yes. It was like you're never going to run out of redwood. So they built a lot of homes out of redwood. But all that paint loss made that house lose its potential. I'm moving around. I had to explain to my kids where I live. You know, they've never been here, you know. And except for my one son that I came up to live with. And he lived out there in the lake. But it's hard making that slow transition of losing your identity to, I used to be the head of the family, you know. I didn't think much about it then. That's a big position, big responsibility. And I miss it. So I was glad for it.
It's interesting, Owen, how our roles in life change and how our job is to be grateful for every role we get. And that when you see someone change the color of your home, or the outside, or plan it differently. That's now their opportunity to express and be. And for our opportunity to be grateful that they're in a place of appreciation and joy. So as we look at our life as it changes and shifts and moves, we start to understand that when we reach out to other people, such as prayer treatment, we start to see a new way of thinking and a new way of being in what's in our life right here and right now. And we appreciate your thoughts and your awareness of how everything is moving, how everything that we're doing in our life is moving and shifting, and that our job is to be available to the beauty of it. And we haven't lost anything. We've gained an awareness and a consciousness of having an opportunity to look at the world differently, and opening our heart and accepting people for exactly who they are and what they need without expectations. When we do that, there's peace for the people that we may not understand, and there's peace for the inside of our well-being. Thank you.
I want to care one thing more about painting that redwood house. Wouldn't it be nice to strip off all that paint, go back to the original?
Let's do it, Dale.
That would be that.
Thank you.
I think that's what we're doing in our lives every day is
Yeah.
stripping off all the
Yes.
old paint
Yes.
and getting down to the heartwood of who we are and
Couldn't
who we
take
are.
it for granted, but it's grateful today because it may not be tomorrow.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for being here because I'm learning from you.
And remembering we have to let go of things that are no longer ours. You know, when we cling on to the past, we don't get the present.
Yeah.
We're not in the moment.
Amen.
So, you know, it is a part of our transformation. Yes, thank you. Speaking of, there's a frog box in the back for prayer treatments, and we have Joe Bull, who is Mr. Wonderful when it comes to our prayer treatments. And you can email him. You can go on iFocus and get information there. And I think that that's another part of our own understanding and awareness of how we can reach out to people and reach out for change within our mind, body, spirit self. I believe that next week is Sandy West speaking for our group. And if you would, let's do our prayer treatment, our prayer protection. So we have the light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. And wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And Lori B., do you have one more set of music for us before Sandy prays us out? Okay. Thank you.
This is a song I wrote just recently, and it's a fun one. So just a little fun, crazy song. But it's exactly what you're talking about, Dale. It's how we're just shedding, we're getting loose of that stuff that no longer serves us anymore. And the better we get at accepting all this change, the better off we are. I mean, things are getting just has anyone noticing how much nicer people are getting? Like I mean, I love going to the grocery outlet. When I go to the store, I just meet the funnest people in that store. You know, everywhere I go, people are nice. I never have anyone being mean to me anymore.
Like it used to be. Nicer I am, the nicer they are.
I think that's the whole key to it, don't, yeah. Okay. So I've been going through a lot of changes, a lot. And just my consciousness is changing just so rapidly, it's amazing. And anyway, so this one's called Pleiadian Starseed.
I'm here to tell you a secret of mine. And maybe you won't believe it, or maybe you might. I come from another star in the Milky Way, where everyone gets along most every day. Very true. We flew here in a big mothership, going above Earth's atmosphere. Please don't shoot us down, don't run and hide. We'll open up the doors and welcome you inside. I'm a lovable Pleiadian starseed from the central sun named Alcyon. And we've been around for millions of years, and we love you so much. We are you and you are us. La 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 Now some of you say we look a lot like you, and aliens don't exist, no, this just can't be true. And you say, yeah, we're human, and almost like you. We came here to remind you that the golden rule, you're not alone. No, 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 you're not alone. And keep love and joy in your heart, and turn off your news, cause it's way too dark. Take a walk amongst the trees, a stroll in the park, and remember to smile and the lights will spark. Yes, you will. And don't allow fear to be your vibrations, or there will go you and your entire nations. No more fighting peace amongst yourselves. Please dance and sing along, and ring those bells. We are a lovable Pleiadian starseed from the central sun named Alcyon. And we've been around for millions of years, and we love you so much, 'cause we are you and you are us. Yeah, we came from the future, we're the future you. Seems good for you, know. You can come along, you can fly. It's all good vibrations.
Speaking of, could we have Sandy West come up and do a closing treatment?
Thank you. Just close your eyes, please, and take a deep breath. Just relaxing into this feeling of Thanksgiving that we're celebrating. Thankful for all that we are, all that we've been, all that we're becoming. Thankful for the good in our lives, the people in our lives, the love in our lives, for the stars and the trees, for everything. feeling this big sense of gratitude. And as you go forth this week, take that thankfulness with you. Work on it every day. Enjoy it, experience it, being thankful every night before you go to sleep for the glorious day you've had. Allow yourself this feeling, this evolving, this becoming, this being. And give glorious thanks for that which we are. And say with me, please. And so it is. Thank you.
Yeah. That felt good. We want to thank everyone for coming today, for the opportunity to be together, to remember how precious you all are, and understand that that is part of how we transform from old ideas that no longer serve us to a new awakening, to those steps in life that can change anything. Thank you. Have a great weekend. And if Lori B. Ballard has music she wants to play, she's all played out. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.